With us now for more on all of this is Ron Vitiello. He served as acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement under former President Trump and also served as chief of Border Patrol. Thanks, Ron, so much for being here. You have long argued that walls work. Is this the right move by the Biden administration today?
Well, thanks for inviting me. Yes, they absolutely work, and this is the right move. It's important to note here that walls and waivers go together. That the story is about exercising the waiver for environmental effects of the wall and the construction that would happen on the U.S.-Mexico border. But that requirement for the wall comes from Border Patrol agents, planners, men and women in the field who look at the operational terrain and say, if I have impedance and denial here, if I have a barrier, can I be more successful? Can I have an access road and sensors and technology to go along with it? So this isn't Joe Biden's wall. It wasn't Donald Trump's wall. It wasn't Bill Clinton's wall when they started building it in 1993. This is what agents on the ground need to be successful. And we see what's happening on the border with this uncontrollable flow of humanity. Well over 2 million apprehensions encounters so far this year, and more to come, no end in sight. And so the president's saying he's going to do it because Congress told him to, but he doesn't believe that it works, even though he voted for the Secure Fence Act in 2006. So he's having a little bit of both ways here, and that's the nature of what's going on. They pretend that there's not a problem at the southwest border, but then they cite the acute nature of the traffic and the law breaking and the lawlessness that it goes on, and they need a barrier to fix it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's pretending there's not a problem along the border. Border Patrol recorded more than 200,000 arrests of migrants crossing illegally in September. That's the highest monthly total this year. Biden's been criticized even by leading Democratic mayors and governors for not doing more to stem the tide and help cities and states struggling to care for all these people. What more should President Biden be doing?
Well, there's a delegation in Mexico right now. You just had in your report that one of the mayors or both of the mayors are going down to the border into Mexico. We had a historic agreement with Mexico for the migrant protection protocols. Was it perfect? No, but it did end the cycle of apprehending large numbers of people who come across the border illegally, contrary to U.S. law, and then releasing many of them, a third or more. And I think that number is now closer to 2/3. And so if we have that cycle continuing where people come, they get arrested, they get put into the system, and then they're released into the United States, that's a burden on everybody. It's a burden on even the people in the pipeline because they're going to get exploited both in the destination cities and while they're in this pipeline. And so what can be done? We could leverage Mexico once again to help us with something like the Migrant Protection Protocol.
Do you think that's going to happen? I know that's what they're down there meeting for, but I mean, so far it hasn't happened. How good a partner is Mexico in all of this?
Well, you have to have leverage over Mexico. They're not going to do it just because they're good friends of ours, because we are their number one trading partner. We need to use that status with their economic impact, our economic impact to their economy. We need to use that leverage to get them to do more on their southern border, in the interior of their country, and on our northern border. They did that before because it was in their interest. So we got to find out what that interest is and leverage it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about some statements that were made today by the president of Mexico as he met with our Secretary of State, Attorney General, and Department of Homeland Security. First of all, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, said fentanyl being trafficked into the United States is the deadliest drug threat we have ever faced. And yet you have the president of Mexico denying still again today that fentanyl is made in Mexico. He said today, quote, "It's an American problem. We don't have excessive addictions in Mexico. We regret what's happening in the U.S., but we don't have that problem." How is our government?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that most of the citizens in Mexico believe that. Is the usage of fentanyl more in the United States than it is in Mexico? Yeah, probably. Do we have a demand problem in the United States? Absolutely we do. But for him to ignore that they have the similar problem in their border cities and in other towns across Mexico, it's just him playing games. It's him fooling himself and trying to get people to understand that it's not their problem. It is their problem. Their cartels learned how to make this deadly substance. Those cartels are trafficking it across our U.S.-Mexico border.
And making a ton of money.
And they have a responsibility like we do to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. All right, Ron Vitiello, complicated issue. Great to have you here tonight to weigh in on it. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.